Kirby's Adventure. Kirby's Adventure is the second installment in the Kirby series, and the first to feature his iconic copy ability. Right around when we finished Kirby's Dream Land, the company initiated settlement proceedings. In other words, we were insolvent and on the verge of bankruptcy. Our PCs and other equipment got seized, stickers slapped on them and everything. It was quite the experience. Not one I ever thought I'd have. During all that, the company gave me a mission: to make Kirby's Dream Land for the NES. They were probably envisioning a straight port of the Game Boy version. We started planning in 1992, so the Super Nintendo had already been out for some time. Why didn't we make it for the SNES then? Simple. They wanted a game that could be developed and sold as quickly as possible. With the SNES, it would have taken too long to set up the dev environment, let alone actually make the game. Still, I thought Kirby's core concepts as a game geared toward newcomers would have worked well on the SNES, but maybe not so well on the NES. By then, the NES market had already matured. I assumed there wouldn't be many beginners starting out with the system anymore. This created a unique challenge. How do I make something both beginners and veterans can enjoy? More than that, how do I satisfy them? What I ultimately came up with was the idea for the copy ability. It took the original concept of using enemies one step further. Players who aren't used to complex game mechanics can finish the game just by inhaling enemies and spitting them out, whereas more experienced players can dig deep into the copy abilities and broaden their play experience. There's something there for everyone. If you do use copy abilities, certain parts might be more fun, or you might be able to pull off tricks, but you can technically play from start to finish just inhaling enemies and spitting them out. Here are a few pages from the design document I wrote. The art is a little rough, so you can tell just how short I was on time, but it's still fun to look at. The copy ability also greatly increased Kirby's appeal as a character. Just watching him change forms and get new powers is fun in its own right. And it makes you look forward to each new enemy encounter. Every individual enemy now had meaning, which was a huge deal. Of course, it wasn't going to be all that easy to develop, but it didn't seem impossible. Everyone on the development team really worked their tails off, which is why it came together so well. By the way, the Game Boy and the NES display a different number of pixels on screen. Kirby himself has the same number of pixels in both games, so he ended up looking relatively smaller on the larger NES display. The aspect ratio is also different, which made him a little wider as well. With more screen space, Kirby's flying ability grows even stronger than before. It's possible to fly just about any challenge in the game. I actually thought about removing flight entirely, but decided against it in the end. Instead, I expanded the information panel at the bottom of the screen. Not only does it restrict vertical space and make the characters look bigger, it also gave us a spot to put fun pictures of each copy ability. We also confined mid-boss fights to just one screen to limit the utility of flight, though that was in the first game too. With a few other tweaks, like reduced flight speed, I think it ended up nicely balanced. Another notable aspect of Kirby's Adventure is its 3 one-button minigames. I think games can be made that use only one button and included these as a nice extra geared towards novice players. All the fun, none of the complex controls. Their entrances were on the world map too, so players were free to skip them if they weren't interested. They were completely optional. At last, we finished. Development was stressful for a lot of reasons, and it really did a number on my stomach, but I think the end product holds its own against the many other titles in the NES library. If nothing else, giving Kirby the copy ability greatly contributed to his character appeal and popularity, and had a big impact on later titles in the series. And for me, personally, I was really glad I got to make a game for the NES. A true stroke of luck. Next up in our game concepts category will be Kirby Superstar. See you then! Stage clear.